Well, good Thursday morning, and welcome back to another episode of Martin's Koi Pond. And I have to say, I'm living the koi keeper's dream this morning. The fish are all on the top, loving life, loving the pond, loving their food, and I'm just chilling for half an hour before I go and do my afternoon job. Slight bit of bad news, but big bit of bad news really. Pumpkin has gone missing. The small fish I had, the little 5-inch copper Jinrin Chagoy, just vanished. I only noticed it yesterday. I don't know how long it's been missing. My honest thoughts is it's jumped out and a passing seagull or raven or something has got it, because we actually have ravens nesting in our chimney pot at the minute. So anything like that, if they see a fish laying on the ground, would make a meal of it. That's my number one theory. Obviously there's the option of it being a heron, but I don't think a heron would just come and take one fish and say certainly everyone's here today, and it's a bit disappointing really, but you know, I suppose that's the breaks of keeping koi. They can jump. Feeding station is working a dream. It's only taken a couple of days and they are totally hooked on going there for food, so I know when to feed them because they start going up to it and nudging it about. And what's nice about it is it's 60 by 40 centimeters, so when you see fish by it you can get an approximate size estimate of them without having to take them out of the pond, which is good. And I've switched to my summer food of Evolution Aqua Premium. I still have absolutely tons of it left from last year and it smells fine, so I'm going to feed that for the next few weeks. Fish are quite happy on it. It does mean a little bit more foam in the mornings, but that seems to die down by the afternoons. So you can see the skimmer there, it's full of foam at the moment. So that's a little update at the start of this week's video, and I'll get back to you in the next clip. Oh, there goes Milo. Welcome back, Thursday afternoon, and oh, sorry about the finger. So I told you this morning about losing poor old Pumpkin. But what I didn't tell you about was the elephant in the pond. Second biggest fish. So what happened was I went to my local Mainhead Aquatics with my wife looking for an asagi, and they had an asagi, but it was only 4 inches long and they wanted £95 for it, £85, sorry, for it. And I thought that was a bit steep, bearing in mind there was no named breeder or anything. So I looked in the big pond and the fish in there were all 40 centimeters plus, and they were priced at 95 to 125 pounds. So we asked about this guy here. He's staying quite low in the water at the minute. My wife really liked him. I liked him. I like him a lot actually. And it's difficult to see at the minute from the video, but he's actually an Aragoki. Hope I pronounced that right. So he's a Doitsu fish with a line of scales down his side. Scare him into the sunlight. And few big scales between his head and his dorsal fin. So, yeah. He's like a steel blue metallic colour with sort of grey blotches on him. And there's some sort of pink in his fins. Now, I know this sort of fish is not everyone's cup of tea, but it's very different, and it kind of provides that bluish colour that I wanted from the Asagi, so I'm quite happy with him. And he only cost me £95 at 42 centimetres, so price-wise, very happy. Now, because my daughter provided some of the funds in terms of a gift card for Maidenhead Aquatics, I gave her and the grandkids the chance to name him. Unfortunately, my 4-year-old granddaughter has called him Sharky, and they all like that. So I can't really let a 4-year-old granddaughter down. So Sharky he is. I'm sure we'll get used to that. But here he comes with some food. Really, really like this fish. He's got some real pink on his face. But yeah, so that's Sharky the Aragroki, if that's how you pronounce it. I want to look at the rest of the fish in the afternoon sun. Looking absolutely fabulous. So, good Friday evening. And just there is Ash, my shower. Now, 2 or 3 weeks ago, Ash was very, very poorly. He had the whole of his underside was red raw with all veins showing, and I believed he had a bacterial infection, and he was sulking on the bottom, not feeding, and really looked in a bad way. But look at him now. All I did was one treatment of aquaflavin, and that seems to have done the trick. He's lively again, absolutely ravenous for food, and looking great. So, bit of a success story there. Ash, my shower, doing really well. Now, the wife has moved the new pergola to over there. She didn't like it here. She said it looked out of place. She likes this side of the pond to be open so we can kind of view it. Now, what the plan is for me to get some black masonry paint and paint that little wall behind the little pagoda. And then I'm thinking of getting some Japanese art, you know, some Japanese writing type art plaques and sticking them on that wall. Just a thought anyway. I was also wondering whether I might be able to get Martin's koi pond in Japanese from somewhere. Some sort of, oh, here they go, on some sort of plaque. Right, we don't want to hear them dogs, so I'll wind up for now. Catch you in the next clip. Well, welcome back and good Saturday morning. Now you find me inside in the summer lounge. There's big old Simon, the Midas cichlid, looking magnificent as always, all 14 inches of him. Now, why am I in here? Well, on Facebook last night, Kingsland Koi advertised some very small koi for £14 each, and I thought, why not have a couple of grow-ons? So I refilled well, half refilled, because Milo can get his head sort of in there, so I couldn't fill it all the way. But I've put water in the old sump tank, which is 4 foot long by 18 inches high by 12 inches wide, so it's a reasonable sized tank. And I went and bought a couple of grow-on fish. So I've made a filter out of an old reactor filter designed to house carbon and stuff like that in marine tanks. But what I've done is I've put some sponge in the bottom and then some mature ceramic absorbent balls in the rest of the way. Now they are from my big 6 foot tank, so they've been matured for a couple of years, so there's no worries about there not being any beneficial bacteria in them. So what did I buy? Well, I suppose you might say fairly boring fish really, but they are not boring to me. I like single coloured fish. I mean, that's one of the reasons I like Martin Devon Coy's pond so much, because he's got so many single coloured fish. And Andy Daly's pond as well, he's got 3 or 4 single coloured fish, so I like his fish selection. So I bought a Benigoy Jinrin and a Yamabuki Jinrin. These fish are only 3 inches, so I suppose you'd call them fry. And the plan is to grow them on in here. It'll be warmer in the house than outside, so that will give them a boost, and hopefully they will soon be big enough to go outside. But yeah, a nice little indoor project for me. The water is all RO water. I did put the pond water in from the tank they came from, because there's no other fish in the pond, in the tank, sorry. So I didn't think that would be a problem. But there you go, little yellow Yamabuki Jinrin and a little Benigoy Jinrin. See how I'll keep you updated on their progress. Well, good Saturday afternoon and welcome back. Fish are all on the bottom because I've been messing around the pond, and I just filled this bucket with some pond water because I'm going to clean the sponges out in the shower. So I'll just pop you on pause, and I'll get the lantern off and the lid off, and we'll have a look at the state of the sponges. Little update on the 2 little grow-on fish. Gave them, I broke up some Tetra pond sticks for them, and they've both fed, so that's a good sign. Anyway, back to you in a sec. Welcome back. Well, it's absolutely full of filter fly larvae, and that's just the thicker of the sponges. I think I'm going to put my carbon back in because that's been out for 3 or 4 weeks now and is fully dried off. Let's have a look at the thinner sponge underneath. Oh yeah, a lot more muck on that. So obviously it's important when you're cleaning sponges and floss and stuff, if you're going to reuse it, you need to be cleaning it in pond water, not tap water, so you don't destroy any biological filtration or beneficial bacteria, as people say. Now what I'll do is I'll get these cleaned, pop back in, and then get back to you. Welcome back. Well, as you can see, the sponge is now much higher in the filter and the water can't bypass the sponge at all, because I've added back the 2.5 kilo bags of carbon. So there's 5 kilos of carbon back in there. Someone said that it gets exhausted quite quick, but remember I'm adding RO water to the pond, so the water going into the pond doesn't contain any contaminants, so it's only removing what was left in the pond before I started adding the RO. Fish don't like me playing around with the shower. They always go a bit sulky if I'm messing around with the shower or when I'm doing the maintenance on this filter here. So anyway, ooh, horrible reflection of the sun there for you, sorry about that. Right, I'll wind this bit up here, catch you in a bit. Well, good Sunday morning and welcome back. Just thought I'd do a little update on the two grow-ons. They seem fine. They've had 24 hours nearly in their new little home. They're a little bit skittish, but I think they'll settle down. That's obviously the Yamabuki. The Benigoi is hiding around the corner there. So what the plan is, I'm going to add a couple of little sponge filters, one at each end, and that way there'll be plenty of oxygen in the water, because at the minute there's not a lot of oxygen in the water, so need to sort that out and get them ordered. And also food wise, I have been feeding them these Tetra Pond sticks, but they're not particularly, I think, a sort of high growth food. So what I intend to do is try and get them onto this New Life Spectrum probiotics, which is quite a high protein food. It's also good for the tank because it reduces waste, and obviously in a small closed environment like a tank, two koi are going to produce a lot of waste. So anything I can do to try and keep that down has got to be better for the fish. The pellet size is only a couple of mil, so actually it's perfect for those the koi. What I have found with that stuff is I've got a big bucket of it which cost me £90, would you believe, which I bought when I was keeping marines. But I have found that a lot of fish don't take to it very readily, so I might have to sort of starve them a couple of days and then feed it, but we'll see how that goes. So there's my two grow-on fish. I'll try and zoom in on them without upsetting them, and there they are. And with that, I will wind this week's video up, and I will see you in next week's video. Happy pond keeping.